So what do I mean really when I say that each perspective, or rather each stage, is the ability to see more perspectives? So here's what I mean. So let's start with stage blue. Stage blue is the ability to see from the perspective of your civilization and your culture and defending that and working towards it, which is a great evolutionary step, because before that, people were very, very egocentric. So this is an evolution to ethnocentric. But the stage blue person is unable to step outside of the perspective of his culture, his race, his ethnicity, his religion. So it doesn't compute for the mind, right? The mind can't do this. The mind needs a software upgrade to be able to move to orange. And at orange now, orange becomes a little bit less ethnocentric, more world-centric. Now orange can start to see that, wait a minute, my civilization, my culture is not the best one. There's various other kinds out there. And now orange moves into sort of the rational perspective. Everything is rational and scientific. But orange still is not able to take higher perspectives. Orange now becomes stuck within rationalism and within science. And now orange thinks that science and rationalism is the most true, the best perspective. It's objective. It's factual. Well, that turns out to be an illusion. And if you go beyond that, you can evolve to green, which requires that you take an additional level of perspective and you see that, oh, wait a minute, science and rationality, that was just one perspective out of many others. And that moves you into postmodern. But then at that point, you start to think that, well, now I've gotten to the end. Now I'm at the highest level of perspective taking that's possible. Because, Leo, now I acknowledge all perspectives. Look, I'm okay with different religions and different cultures. In fact, I'm multicultural. I value different perspectives. I want to hear from different cultures. I don't want to oppress any cultures. And I want to fight for human rights and equality and justice for everybody. But what you're missing there is that itself is also just one perspective out of many others, and it's not the best. And there's no normative reason for why everyone should be at that level. And when you understand that, then you move up to yellow. And at yellow, now for the first time, you're able to see the full spiral. You're able to see that people are at different levels of development. You're able to understand that all of these levels have certain need and serve a certain function, in the same way that different levels within a skyscraper are all necessary to make up the whole skyscraper. You can't just get rid of the third floor in a skyscraper, because all the other above floors depend on the third floor. And so yellow takes the perspective that all of reality is a matter of perspectives, and that all perspectives are partial, and that we need to integrate various perspectives together and make sense of them all and be holistic. And that's great. That's a huge leap beyond all the other colors that came before. But then there's even an additional level of higher perspective you can take, which is that past yellow into turquoise, now you start to transcend the perspective of a human being. And now you start to take on mystical perspectives and cosmic perspectives, which are no longer rational, no longer human even, and really transcend even the idea of perspective. Ultimately, you get to non-duality, and at non-duality, you're sort of in the non-perspective perspective, which is you're at the absolute, which is how reality looks when you're not looking at it from any particular point of view. See? So keep this in mind. If you want to evolve up the spiral very quickly, you got to get very good at dropping your old perspectives and taking on new perspectives. And this is not easy to do. Looking at the world from a new perspective is difficult. It's challenging for the mind. It's taxing for the mind to see a problem in a new creative way. That's what new perspectives amount to. But you can train yourself to get good at this. So by no means am I condemning the rest of the world by saying that, well, they're just stuck and they can't take more perspectives. They certainly can. They can be taught to, but they need to be taught, which requires work and time and effort. Like if we spend billions of dollars creating all the right books and the videos and the teachings and the courses in the universities in Africa that are necessary, then we will quickly grow Africa into higher developmental stages. But of course, we aren't doing that. Not nearly enough, which is why the rest of the world is not developing as quickly as we'd like them to. You know, if you want a solution to the world's greatest evils like terrorism and Nazism and racism and slavery and corruption and mafia and criminal gangs and online syndicates, you know, criminal syndicates that steal credit cards. And so if you want to solve that problem, what you need to do is that the first world countries need to pool their money together to help to raise the third world countries to higher stages up the spiral, to at least blue or orange. And then most of that stuff would just automatically stop. Because that behavior only comes from people who are at stage red or low blue on the spiral. You won't get those kinds of behaviors from orange or from green people.